Hello and welcome to the third race of this 2017 season. At the Bahrain Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton lining up on pole after a difficult start to the season for him. Not as good as his teammate Valtteri Bottas, who is very close to leading the championship. Here is Daniel Ricciardo, also a poor start from him as he's been beaten by teammate Max Verstappen at both the previous races. Force India able to get into the top four there, but now this is the final car lining up on the grid. Marcus Ericsson to finish this formation lap as we are moments away from the 5 red lights going out. And here they are. Lights out and away we go. It's a decent start from Lewis Hamilton, but Sebastian Vettel with a better one already alongside him. There's a Williams in the background doing some overtaking, but Sebastian Vettel in first into the first corner. There's a bit of contact. Who's going to come out on top? It's Sebastian Vettel. Lewis Hamilton jumping over the curb a bit, and actually Valtteri Bottas is very, very close to Hamilton. Daniel Ricciardo close now though to Bottas, so this is hindering Bottas a bit as he'll have to also think about defending. Very, very close to contact there, but Sebastian Vettel with a fantastic beginning, and Lewis Hamilton is actually under quite a lot of pressure as he might lose 2 positions straight away from Valtteri Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo. Lewis Hamilton starting on pole, but not the best start from him. Meanwhile, Force India losing its positions that it got in qualifying, but Valtteri Bottas now very, very close, inches away from Lewis Hamilton as Sebastian Vettel has got off scot-free. He is very, very far ahead. He's got his own little gap. He can push on and continue, but Lewis Hamilton cannot chase. Valtteri Bottas is right behind him, his teammate, who is actually doing quite a lot better in the championship. Valtteri Bottas second in the championship. As things stand, he will be leading the championship ahead of championship rival Kimi Raikkonen, who is right now stuck behind Max Verstappen. It's a tough race for Kimi Raikkonen. This will have to be a lot of damage limitation for him, but he's got a pretty good exit. This is a power track, the Ferrari engine working well, but meanwhile I think the 2 Mercedes were going side by side, and indeed they are. Who is going to come out on top? Valtteri Bottas pushed a bit off onto the side of the road. Oh, there's a 4-way battle here. Both the Red Bulls, both the Mercedes. What will happen? Is that Max Verstappen going around the outside of everybody? Daniel Ricciardo very, very close now to Bottas. Will he go round the outside? No, he will not. He just does not have the straight line speed of the Mercedes. But Lewis Hamilton has now been demoted 1 position into... he's now at the last place of the podium on 3rd. But this is bad news for Valtteri Bottas, as well as he loses yet another position to Kimi Raikkonen. The gap's getting closer and closer, and this is good for Kimi Raikkonen, who, as things stand, doesn't have to work very hard to retain that championship lead. Meanwhile, Sebastian Vettel working to maybe have a good fight in the championship. He has had a tough time of things. In China, he was set to have a easy win, but then with a few lockups, he ended up coming second, with Valtteri Bottas winning the race. And in Australia, he finished in P6, so it hasn't been the strongest start of the championship. Meanwhile, Valtteri Bottas is going to have a go for P3 for that final spot on the podium. He's got no DRS yet, but he's going to go round the outside. Lewis Hamilton has got a lockup. There's a bit of front wing, but I don't know whose that was from. And that is how Lewis Hamilton retains the lead with a bit of contact. Now Valtteri Bottas in a lot of trouble. Ricciardo, can he make a move? No, he's not going to make a move. He thought better of it. Actually, he's got Kimi Raikkonen, who's going around his outside, and Kimi Raikkonen's got the position. It's an absolute overtake fest. Whenever someone's trying to overtake somebody is on their heels, ready to overtake them. Kimi Raikkonen, will he be able to overtake Valtteri Bottas? As things stand, he will be leading the championship still, but he could further solidify that lead by overtaking his championship rival. Here is Valtteri Bottas right now. He's got DRS on Lewis Hamilton. Kimi Raikkonen has got DRS on him. Will he be able to still chase after Lewis Hamilton, or is he under attack too much from Kimi Räikkönen? Here is Sebastian Vettel, who all this time is just creating that bit of a gap. You can see Max Verstappen in the distance, but he isn't quite close enough to make an actual move. Here is Max Verstappen now, and as you can see, quite a bit of a gap ahead of him, but also a decent gap behind him as Lewis Hamilton is very much under attack now. Valtteri Bottas behind, Kimi Räikkönen behind, both with DRS. Lewis Hamilton is going to be under a lot of pressure here to keep that podium position, as there are many people who will be trying to take that off him. Kimi Räikkönen not quite close enough to Valtteri Bottas to do anything, and Bottas will actually have a decent shot of overtaking Hamilton. Meanwhile, four-way fight as Grosjean wanting to overtake someone, but now Force India is going to be overtaking him, the Force India of Esteban Ocon, but no, Grosjean coming back with some amazing fighting. Who will be ahead into this corner? Will it be Grosjean? Yes, it will, but now Ocon has got the exit. Some fantastic racing there from the Force India and the Haas. Absolutely amazing racecraft from the two of them. Lewis Hamilton has got quite a big gap in front of him. Things are not going his way whatsoever. He's out of DRS range, but now he has to focus fully on Valtteri Bottas behind him, who will go for an overtake before even a DRS, and round the outside. Will he be able to make it? Yes, he will. No, he won't. Not quite yet. There's a bit of contact. Bottas raising his hand. But Hamilton having a bit of a better exit. But now Bottas has got the DRS. So does Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen is going to overtake the both of them, perhaps into turn one. What will happen? Oh, there's a contact between the two Finns. Valtteri Bottas skipping over the curb, and it's Kimi Räikkönen in P3, the final spot on the podium. But he doesn't have DRS. Neither does Valtteri Bottas, actually. But no DRS yet on this straight. But Kimi Räikkönen overtaking both the Mercedes in an absolutely mega overtake, similar to the one that Max Verstappen did when there were many people trying to overtake each other, and then out of nowhere comes one car to overtake all of them. Daniel Ricciardo, tough time of things. He's always outqualified his teammate. So far, he has never outperformed his teammate. We can see Max Verstappen up ahead of the road now, as he is just in a bit of no man's land now. He's not very close to Vettel. He's not very close to Kimi Räikkönen behind, though. But this is fantastic stuff for Ferrari, who have now got a double podium, and with the pace that the Ferrari's been having, I think it is very possible that Kimi Räikkönen can catch up to Max Verstappen and get this Ferrari 1-2. Here is Sebastian Vettel continuing yet again. It's been a lonely, boring race from him, but a very good one. Here is Valtteri Bottas. He's got DRS just barely, as there's quite a big gap, but he's really closing up now. Sparks flying from the fellow Finn's car. He catches up so much in the braking zone, but how will the exits be? We are watching now, and Valtteri Bottas a little bit of sliding around, a little bit more twitchy it seems, but also quite a bit quicker as he's catching up in every corner, every straight. Meanwhile, here's a battle of Haas here with Kevin Magnussen trying to overtake the McLaren of Fernando Alonso, who is stuck behind the Williams of, I believe it is, Lance Stroll. A little bit of a battle going on here in the midfield. The midfield has had some very intense battles, but compared to what's been going on in front and all the repercussions it would have on the championship fight, that is what we've been focusing a bit more on. Here is Nico Hülkenberg with some fantastic performances this season. Absolutely stunning stuff. He has been putting in amazing performances, getting points at every race. But here is Valtteri Bottas now on Kimi Räikkönen. He has gotten very close. Some people pitting in, I believe that's Sebastian Vettel and also Max Verstappen. Kimi Räikkönen and Valtteri Bottas not pitting in. Lewis Hamilton is pitting in. Will this be the correct strategy? If so, this is going to be a huge advantage for them. But will they come out in traffic? we are on board with Max Verstappen now. No traffic as it seems so far. No, there is. We have caught up to this battle with Jolyon Palmer, a Williams and a Haas, and this is terrible stuff for Max Verstappen. The cars in front are not getting out of the way. They don't have to get out of the way. They're not obliged to. This is for position because they haven't pit. They're not lapped. But this is terrible stuff for Max Verstappen. As you can see, he's just not able to get past, and he's losing a lot of time. Now, this is excellent news for the likes of Valtteri Bottas and Kimi Räikkönen, who have stayed out. And this will be an amazing overcut for them. They might be ahead of Max Verstappen, making life a lot more easy. Here is now Stoffel van Dorn. He's already been overtaken by Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen jumping over the curb a bit to try and overtake the Williams. Doesn't quite make it work. Amazing exit. You can just see though, he's got so much more pace on that fresh rubber, and he's got the move on the Williams done already. Next up, the Renault of, I believe, Nico Hülkenberg, but this is Sebastian Vettel, and he has already pit in, and he has got clean air in front of him. Here's Kimi Räikkönen. How will this pit stop be? It's been a decent... No, it isn't! It's absolutely terrible. He's just been held for that little bit longer, and he's been jumped by Valtteri Bottas. All of that hard work thrown away from a mildly bad pit stop, and this has made life a lot harder for Kimi Räikkönen. But there it is, actually, Valtteri Bottas just behind Max Verstappen. There was a very decent gap of about 7 seconds. No, scratch that. That was actually the gap between Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel, a gap of 4 seconds, which is now reduced to a gap of about 1 second. This is terrible stuff for Max Verstappen, but excellent news for Kimi Räikkönen. Not Kimi Räikkönen, Valtteri Bottas, as he will be able to move ahead perhaps a bit more, create more of a gap between himself and, of course, his championship rival, Kimi Räikkönen. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton has been jumped in the pit stops by Daniel Ricciardo. Not sure how that happened. A terrible pit stop for Lewis Hamilton, and it's just the worst of luck, as he started on pole and he is now in P6. A terrible chain of events for him. But meanwhile, his teammate Valtteri Bottas, who has been having the opposite, he's been having a very, very lucky hard-fought race, which is ending up to be in his favor, it seems, as he is catching up to Max Verstappen and pulling away from Kimi Räikkönen. Anyways, here we are, continuing. Does he have DRS? I'm not sure, I can't quite see it. But no, he does not. He isn't quite close enough. Meanwhile, here's Lewis Hamilton catching up a lot to Daniel Ricciardo, who will be he'll be hoping to get past him. The Mercedes much faster than the Red Bull at this track, and in 2017 in general. The Mercedes, of course, being the dominating car for the past 3 years, and the Red Bull on and off being the challenger between Red Bull and Ferrari. This season it seems Ferrari have been more of a challenger. In 2015 it was, in 2014 it was Red Bull, 15 it was Ferrari, 16 Red Bull, and this year it is Ferrari, with Sebastian Vettel leading the way in the Grand Prix. He's led every single lap so far, and he doesn't have to lead a whole lot more to wrap up this win, as he's a bit over halfway, but quite straightforward race for him, as he has got a much bigger gap between himself and Max Verstappen, as Max Verstappen was in that terrible situation where he was behind lots and lots of traffic after pitting in. But meanwhile, Valtteri Bottas in this second stint has had so much more pace than Kimi Räikkönen. He is pulling away from Kimi Räikkönen, catching up quite well to Max Verstappen. He does not have DRS still, but he is catching up. But once he has DRS, I think that will be much harder for Max Verstappen to defend. Meanwhile, here's Lewis Hamilton. He doesn't quite overtake. Oh, and he hits Daniel Ricciardo, but Daniel Ricciardo keeps the position. That was very strange there. Lewis Hamilton hitting quite a few of his challengers today, as he's been a bit sloppy, a bit frustrated with how things have panned out. Meanwhile, Nico Hülkenberg trying to overtake the Toro Rosso of, I believe this is Carlos Sainz, round the outside. Will he be able to make it work? I believe he will, but no, maybe Carlos Sainz will have a better exit. It does not seem that he will. He keeps the position, Nico Hülkenberg with that position. Amazing job right there, but I'm corrected, actually, that was not Carlos Sainz, that was Daniel Kvyat. Maybe Kvyat will be able to still do something. Meanwhile, we can see Valtteri Bottas chasing after Max Verstappen. He is very, very close indeed. He is, with no doubt, within DRS range now, as we are nearing, edging closer and closer towards the conclusion of the Grand Prix. But Valtteri Bottas has got DRS, is going to make things a lot harder for Max Verstappen. What will he do? He's not close enough to make a move. Max Verstappen going very, very deep, actually. He's made a huge mistake there. And Valtteri Bottas is catching up more and more and more. He's now got slipstream. He's going to go around the outside. Where will he go, actually? As Max Verstappen is chosen around the outside. That's a bit sketchy from Max Verstappen as he moves over onto Valtteri Bottas's line. He's got worn tires. He's slipping around. And he's been a little bit too aggressive. A bit sketchy stuff going from Max Verstappen as that is how he is able to keep the position from Valtteri Bottas. But Bottas will have DRS in this next straight, and that will be much more difficult to defend from, as it's a much easier corner to take with the racing line. So depending on where Max Verstappen goes, but he goes on the racing line, he keeps the position, and he has still got that P2. He's still got that fantastic P2. He's got on the podium in Australia ahead of Bottas. Meanwhile, here's Kimi Räikkönen, who's had a very unfortunate chain of events happen today in this Grand Prix, as he's now quite far behind the Mercedes and the Red Bull. Max Verstappen going all the way right up to the pit lane, but he is still in that P1, P2 actually. But Valtteri Bottas so close. Max Verstappen yet again making a mistake. This has been going on for the past few laps. Can Bottas do something about it? Can Max continue to defend and keep this position? We are going to see. But at every corner, Max is going a little bit wide, a little bit deep. He's making a few mistakes. He hasn't got the grip with the tires. He hasn't got the straight line speed. Oh, and he goes off. He goes wide there. That has hindered him a little bit, but Valtteri Bottas still not quite close enough to make a move. Here we are up to turn 9, 10. What will happen? No lockups, no nothing, which is surprising, as it's been notorious to catch out a lot of worn tires. That corner, you would get lockups very frequently if you have got those worn tires, like Max Verstappen does. But Valtteri Bottas, with all this pushing, he's beginning to slide around a bit as well. His tires not faring absolutely the best. But Max Verstappen's tires are absolutely shredded, wobbling around very much. And Valtteri Bottas is going to make a move again before even getting there. No, he won't. Max Verstappen doing some incredible late braking there. There's yellow flags. What is this about? Is Max Verstappen maybe having it? No, it isn't. It's Sebastian Vettel. No. After a dominant Grand Prix, Sebastian Vettel is out of the race. This is now a battle for the lead, not for second place, between Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen. This is absolutely terrible stuff for Sebastian Vettel. When will he catch a break? He lost the previous Grand Prix due to lockups. He loses this Grand Prix due to an engine failure. So incredibly unlucky for him. But meanwhile, that means that this battle is only getting more intense, as this is not for a podium, it is for a win. Valtteri Bottas so close to Max Verstappen, but this is also very bad news for Kimi Räikkönen and not Red Bull, Ferrari as a whole, as they will be losing, not gaining points in the championship against Mercedes, they'll be losing the points, and now Valtteri Bottas will be gaining more points on Kimi Räikkönen, as he won't be getting 15 points, but instead 18. But Valtteri Bottas is now not actually catching up to Max Verstappen as much. He's not right behind him, and actually it is Kimi Räikkönen who's catching a bit to Valtteri Bottas. It's a bit too late for that now, I think, but here is Max Verstappen as he's going to finish up this lap, and he's going to win the Grand Prix. He wins it. Sebastian Vettel retiring on the final lap. What an absolute shame for him. Very, very unfortunate.
It wasn't always plain sailing today, but a very important win nonetheless. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
So here come our winning drivers today, and what a race it was. There's been a big push at the factory lately to get these cars ready, and we can see the fruits of that labour today as Red Bull lift the winner's trophy. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Difficult call, but I'd like to say Esteban Ocon. He's just so gifted at getting the most out of his tyres, and he showed that today.
That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye, and see you again next time.